Hi everyone, this is Long Vo. Today I'm analyzing one of my games against my cell phone. Today is June 28th, 2012, and my cell phone's program is called ChessAnywhere at level 9, which is the most difficult level. I'm playing white, so I go e4 and he goes d6. So this is the Pierce defense. So d4 and knight to f6 attacking the e-pawn, knight to c3 defending, and g6. So when I see a defense that's passive, then I really start attacking the center. So I went to f4. And at this point, I think that he's going to castle king side. So that's why I'm starting my attack on the king side. And bishop to g7. So now once my f pawn has moved, I do like the idea of bringing the knight to f3 right behind the pawn, because this is like an outpost for the knight right away, as opposed to on this side where now this pawn is blocked. So he castles short. So I'm going to start putting pressure on the center with e5. So d takes e, and instead of taking with d, and then he would exchange queens, I decided to take with the f pawn. So f takes e, threatening the knight as well. So knight to d5, attacking my knight. And there's no point in taking right now, because if I take, I lose the tempo and then he develops his queen in the end. So I'll wait for him to attack me. So in the meantime, I'll use my tempo for another more useful development move. So bishop to c4. So now this is a double threat on the knight. So either he moves it or he has to exchange. So I'm really forcing him to exchange here. So knight takes c3, b takes c3. I'm not worried about these double pawns because I've just created like a strong barricade against the dark squared bishop, and my bishop is probably going to attack on the this diagonal instead of instead of going this way. c6. I think with the idea of pushing later to push my knight away. Castle short. And b5, threatening my bishop. So I retreat to bishop goes to b3. And he goes a5. So his next move could trap my bishop. So a4, allowing the bishop to retreat eventually. So bishop to f5, so developing. Bishop to g5, with the idea of going the queen here and perhaps exchanging bishops later, because his dark squared bishop is really important for the king's safety. And my dark squared bishop is not that useful at this point. So h6. So that's another. So once I see this type of setup here with the fianchetto bishop and the three pawns here, I do like to. So instead of developing to f4, I decided to develop here so that to tempt him to attack with his pawns and really weakening his light squares. So I retreat the bishop to e3. So e6, so he's blocking my pawn here, and opening the file for his queen for defense, which is a good move. So queen to d2, and g5. So when I see that, I'm really happy about this, because his light squares are really weak now, and the only piece defending them is this light squared bishop, which is trapped. So now it's my chance to start, find a way to exchange it. So here comes my attack. So knight takes g5 with the idea of, well, obviously he has to take now, so h takes g5, and bishop takes g5, threatening the queen. So queen to b6, but really the idea of the knight, sacrificing the knight over here, is really to open this file to get rid of this light squared bishop, and then there's nothing protecting the king for the light squares. So now, but before that, it's also an opportunity for me to exchange dark squared bishops, because now there's really no way for him to retreat, right? But if he was smart, he would have just stayed there and let me lose a tempo. So anyways, he took, bishop takes f6, e takes f6. So you see now my pawn just gained a tempo and it got closer to the king, whereas if, let's say, he plays a random move, something like that, and then I take and he takes back, then his king is less threatened, right? So this pawn is further away. So instead he took with the bishop, I took with the pawn, and he goes king to h7, because he knows that if he doesn't move the king, my next move would be check and then checkmate. So here's the idea of sacrificing the rook. So rook takes f5, and right now material gain, it doesn't matter to me, because this pawn is extremely powerful, the king is very vulnerable, and this is the fastest way for me to bring my other rook into the game. His rook here is useless, the knight is useless, this rook is almost useless. It's only defending the 8th rank here, but the king is above the 8th rank, so and the queen is useless as well. So e takes f5, and queen to g5. So I didn't even need to bring the rook yet. Yeah, so I saw the opportunity to bring the queen in. So queen takes d4 check. I guess he doesn't have a choice, because my like, even if he went rook to g8 here, I could simply, well, yeah, that would have been checkmate. So there was nothing he could do, right? So the end was near, so he was desperate. So queen takes d4 check, and c takes d4, and it's pretty much over. So this move was, there's no point to it. He could have moved anything. So rook to c8 and queen to g7 checkmate.